All right, well, good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. And today I just want to do just a short video, just talk about a watch company that I was told about naturally through my subscribers. And I love when you guys tell me about new products because I gotta tell you, you guys know I love Invicta. And I have my specific brands that I really love, but I like all watches, as I said many times in all my videos. And a lot of times it's really hard to discover new brands. I spend a lot of time researching and looking for new micro brands, what they're called. They're brands that are a lot of times privately owned. They're not big corporations like your big boys, like including Invicta. That's a really big company. That's what I would call a macro brand. And like Rolex and those kind of companies. You know, the big boys, Movado, Bulova, where they have really deep pockets. They have sponsorships with famous people and their own marketing plan to really get their product out. And so I like to reach out to brands that are not really known. And so it's really nice because you can get a pretty cool timepiece, and I'm able to a lot of times get samples to share with you guys, and it gives me something to actually wear that it's a little bit different than what I would normally wear and might appeal to, you know, someone else's tastes. And it's just great to have another watch in the collection. Let's be honest, I'm a watch addict. So whenever you guys are the other part of this equation here, whenever you guys message me a comment, whether it be on Facebook or my Instagram page or Twitter or Fat Cat Collections on YouTube, about different brands, I love it. When you guys tell me, hey, one guy told me a while back, hey, check out Aromatic and Talkmeister. And those are awesome watches. I've reached out to them. I haven't heard back, but it's definitely a watch I had to purchase myself at a later date. But you know, it was always a watch to buy. But anyway, a gentleman reached out to me the other day and he asked me, what do you think of a company called Swole? Kind of like, you know, the bodybuilder, kind of Swole. That's kind of what what that means. It's called Swole watches. And I said, let me check them out. As the gentleman said, you know, they're really big. Tell me what you think about them. So I went to the website, and at first glance, they looked extremely familiar, okay? And I just want to talk a little bit about the company. And I did reach out to them and requested a product for review, but they failed to respond. And then I also reached out to them just to get a little bit of information about a couple things that troubled me about their website. Now, one thing I can't stand is watch snobs and Invicta haters, okay? And it seems like Invicta just gets a lot of slack from these guys who just think that they know it all about everything and that Invicta makes a crappy product. Now, fortunately, I don't want to worry any of you if you're thinking about buying Invicta. One, I don't sell Invicta. I don't sell any watches. Just let's be very clear. I've said it before. I wish I did sell Invicta watches. I always email them trying to get some kind of connections, but they're just a really big company. And people who do sell Invicta watches, not everybody wants to help you. So it's up to you doing it and figuring it out, but I don't sell Invicta watches, and if I ever do, I can guarantee you that I will let you guys know, because I'd much rather have these beautiful products come from me than from someone else. Right now, I refer you. So when you watch my video and you like the product, I put links in the description. It refers you to my website, it refers you to sellers, and then of course that does help to support my channel. I do get some commission from the eBay Partner Network and Amazon if you buy through those places, and I've always been very upfront and honest with that. I don't push products on here in order to make money, although that's a great part of the equation that I can get paid a little bit for to help cover server fees and to maybe buy a new watch here and there. That's a great perk of it, but I've been doing this way longer, way before I ever received a dime from any of that stuff. So I just want to be clear on that because I'm always upfront and honest with you guys, and I'll always be you know, straightforward. I don't sell any watches, okay? But I do, like I said, I have been reaching out to companies, and some of these newer companies that most of my Invictas I purchased, actually all my Invictas I purchased or received as gifts, and that's same to be said with Aragon and Android, Bulova, same thing, but some of the newer brands I've gotten, that I've been sharing with you guys, I'm able to get samples and review for you guys. So, because some of them honestly are just really outside of my budget. So, but with that being said, I checked out this company called Swole, and one thing that bothered me first off is that the watch looked very, very familiar to something that I already own. And it's something that I've already owned by Invicta. And what it is Swole, and I'm not going to diss the company here because I haven't seen the product in my hands, I haven't felt it, but based on the pictures I've seen, first glance, what I do like is, and I've been wanting a white watch for a while, so when I saw the white, it really sparked my attention, you know, and it had the white poly band and the nice shiny case, and a white face, and it looked really nice. But as I looked at it further and closer up, it looks exactly like another watch that I have. And that watch, one was one that I had, excuse me. It's a copy, or I'd say I wouldn't say it's not a replica or a fake, but it's a design copy of the Invicta Coalition Forces watch. If you haven't seen that watch, and they make several Coalition Forces watches, but the one I'm talking about is the one that looks like this. And I'll show you this up close in a second. Now, this is not the Invicta Coalition Forces watch. This is another brand. I'm going to tell you who makes this brand in just a second. And I've done a review on this before. I used to have the Invicta Coalition Forces watch, which has the big giant knurled bolts at the side holding the band on. I had the old bracelet version, and I liked it, but I ended up selling it because it's just something that I didn't really wear all that much. And usually if I get a watch that, first and foremost, when I get it, I really love it, and as time goes on, if it sits in my safe for too long and it's in good condition, I'll usually try to sell it. And there hasn't been many Invictas that I've sold, but that was one of them. Another one was a Venom watch that I had in the rose and black, and I just wasn't one that I really wore all that much. But when I got that watch, I wasn't wearing a lot of my Invicta watches to work. And finally I got to the point where I was like, screw it, just enjoy wearing them. Who cares if you scratch one? And I really haven't scratched any in about 5 years. With that being said, I picked up what I would call a work watch. And this watch I found on eBay. And this is a watch by Infantry. And if you ever checked out the Infantry brand, check out my review on this watch. If you go to my channel, search my videos, you'll find this watch that I've reviewed. And this is called, it's made by Infantry. And it doesn't really have a model number, but this is designed or inspired by the original Invicta Coalition Forces watch. And I also want to show you this real quick. And if you want to see this watch further, you can check out my video review. You can see, if you check out the Invicta Coalition review that I did, it's almost exactly the same, with the exception of quality, of course. This by no means is the quality of the Invicta Coalition Forces watch, which cost me about $200, or $220, I think actually $230 when I bought it. And I think I sold it for about $200 or $180, something like that. And, you know, I put that money towards another watch. But I had it on the bracelet version, but the Invicta Coalition Forces has these bolts. Mine had the bracelet version, but the case, everything is exactly the same. Very aggressive, chiseled looking watch, very, very unique. And so when I looked at this company called Swole, I was like, okay, it's another company. And you can find this style of watch on eBay under several different names. Infantry is just one of them. And what these are mass-produced, very, very inexpensive, cheap watches. And when I mean cheap, I paid $22 for this watch shipped on eBay. So it's a very inexpensive watch. It's digital and analog on this one here. And it's not a bad watch. I wore it for a while, but then I just don't wear it much anymore because it's not as flashy as some of the other ones I have. And I got to the point now where I have so many watches, there's other ones in my collection that I wear, but it looks nice in the watch box, okay? And it was $22. Who cares, right? So what bothered me about this Swole company, and again, this is just my personal opinion, no facts this, but the Swole watch looks exactly like this, with the exception of having the Swole logos on a few different spots of the watch, slightly different face, and I do like the styling of it as far as, or the color combination. I do like the white. I wish they made this one in a white one for $22. I'd pick one up, but I haven't been able to find one. But what troubled me about it is that they say on their website the watch, it has a sapphire crystal and a Swiss-made movement. And the watch, if you compare this watch to the Coalition Forces, it's inspired by it, but you can definitely tell that this is not, it doesn't, side by side you're like, okay, that's the Invicta. I mean, you can just tell. The bezel's different, but when you compare the pictures on the Swole website compared to this watch, the bezel, everything about this watch, with the exception of the face, is exact, and the color combination is exactly the same. And they say sapphire crystal, and they say the most troubling part is Swiss-made movement. Now, some people get asked me a little bit about that because they say Invicta's, you know, it's kind of, they use Ronda movements. Some people say they're not Swiss-made. But the fact of the matter is Ronda movements are a Swiss-made movement. Whether they are made with Swiss-made parts, or they're assembled in Switzerland, or they're assembled in China, they do fall under the category as actually being Swiss-made. And you know that because when Invicta markets their product, and not just Invicta, plenty of watches out there, plenty of them, use Ronda movements. It's a very well-known movement. It's been used in tons of watches out there. And generally, it's an affordable Swiss-made movement that the company just specializes in making a good quality quartz movement. And they're exceptional. They're great, okay? And with the other company that makes that watch, I haven't seen any Ronda movements in an analog and digital style like that. So it'd be one thing if the watch was said Swiss made and then they listed that it was a Ronda movement, but there's no listing of who makes the movement or what kind. And when I reached out to the company, they didn't have an answer for me. I didn't even touch on the sapphire crystal, because sapphire crystals are generally made in used in higher end watches. Invicta doesn't even use sapphire crystals because it is more expensive. And you know, sapphire crystals tend to be on watches that cost a little more. Not to say a company can't use them. I have no way of knowing whether they are using sapphire, but what trolled me is the Swiss made. And when I reached out to them, they kind of took the approach to that, oh yes, it's Swiss made movement. And I said, no, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Who makes the movement? And they don't produce the movement. I've never seen any analog digital movements in more affordable watches that were Swiss made. So they didn't have an answer for me. They said they'd get back to me, and I highly doubt that they will. Now, long story short, maybe they will get back to me and tell me what it is, but I would think most companies I've seen that say Swiss made on their website for their watches, they list the movement. And if they don't know, if they don't have it listed, they know exactly which movement's in there. And I have a feeling that that watch does not have a Swiss made movement or a sapphire crystal because it looks way too much like this. And the price point on them is about $189. And it's pretty steep for a watch that is, in my opinion, exactly like this. Everything down to the function pushers, to the crown protector, to the crown, to the bezel, to the knurling. Everything I could tell about that watch is this watch. Now, if I'm wrong, maybe the company will go ahead and send me one for a review, and I can go ahead and share that with you guys. Now, I'm not saying it's a piece of garbage. Even this isn't a piece of garbage. And let's face it, there's huge markup on everything out there. I mean, if you buy a Bulova, remember what I always say in my videos, be a smart shopper. When I say, you know, the Bulova watch, the Precisionist, yeah, in like one of the jewelry stores in the mall, it's going to cost you $750. I got it on eBay for $250. So it's the same watch. You gotta be a smart shopper. Just like Invictus, when you see a list price on the cruise ship of $5 grand, 50% off, and then you see it when you get off the cruise ship for exactly what you paid or a lot less. So be a smart shopper, do your homework. But I just want you guys to know, if you're interested in the Swole watches, I will put a link in the description. If you do want to pick one up, by all means, I don't want to stop you from buying it, but I just want you to be aware that that watch, from what I can tell, has a huge markup. And I hate to see somebody pay $180 for a watch that I got for $22. And that's kind of all those watches you see on eBay like this, that they have a couple different names. Just like there's a lot of diesel watches on eBay that are inspired from the real diesel. Some are even replicas, like I've done my video, buyer beware, replica diesel watches off eBay. Check that video out. But that one, came with the markings, and I didn't know I was even going to get one that had the markings, because on the listing, they block out those markings on there to get away with selling it on eBay. And so when I got it, I was surprised it actually was a replica. But when you feel it side by side, you can tell the difference. It's a $10 watch versus a $200 watch. And so with something like this, a lot of people say, well, should I be worried about replica Invictas? Most of the time, guys, when you buy an Invicta watch, it's not going to be a replica. Most places don't replicate watches in the $200 range. Now, I'm not saying there's not a guy out there who maybe would get a replica, just like the diesel watches. Maybe that guy, if I would have paid $200 for that watch and got it, I would have known. Even though if I've never even seen a diesel watch before, I would know, okay, something's off about this watch. And it's the same thing, if you get an Invicta watch, you're going to know if you got ripped off. But generally, if you see an Invicta watch that normally costs $200, and you happen to see one on eBay that maybe the sellers, altered the pictures, or maybe put the real Invicta up, and then you get it, you're protected through eBay, and you can always get your money back pretty easily. You almost have double protection with PayPal and eBay, so you're pretty safe. But you're going to know the difference. You're not going to get it and be like, oh man, I'm pretty happy, then find out down the road that, oh, I got a replica for a fake. So there's not a lot of watches that are inspired to look like Invictas. This is one of them, and it doesn't say Invicta. And if it did, it'd be very easy to tell the difference. And if you ever run into that problem with a question, with a link, something you're looking to buy, send me the link. Send me an email, and I will go ahead and check that out and tell you what I think, give you my honest opinion. But as far as the replicas out there, generally they replicate watches that are, like there's all kinds of replica watches out there, but Rolex is a huge one that gets replicated because they're very expensive. So you guy who can't afford a $5,000 watch might buy one, say it's a Rolex, and pay $150, $200. So But I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of replicas, and I've had a lot of replica watches, and most of the time the quality is pretty decent. Not like this. This is a very, very inexpensive, very cheap quality watch, and you can just feel it when it feels like a $20 watch. Whereas some of the replica Breitlings I've had, they feel pretty good. I mean, automatic movements, you really can't tell the difference. I mean, unless you're trained in, you know your watches, of course. But I just wanted to touch base on that. That's what I think about the Swole watches. Swole, if you do watch this video and you'd like me to do an honest review of your product, by all means, I'm all game to do an honest review when I actually have the product in hand. We'll see if you actually want to do that. Either way, guys, if you have a Swole watch and you like it, that's okay too. But just I want you guys to make sure that you get get a good watch. One guy who told me about the Swole watches, he actually, another guy the other day emailed me. That's why I'm doing this video. And he said, what do you think? And I said, well, I told him my honest opinion, just like I'm telling you guys. And he actually bought one for $129 because I can't afford the Invictus. I said, but man, you can. There's the coalition forces. That one's not being produced right now too much. But I found a few on eBay in the $180 to $250 range, and you're gonna get the real deal. And so I just want you guys to be happy with your product and not get burned in any way. So that's my 2 cents on the Swole Watch Company. By all means, let me know what you guys think. Thank you very much for watching the channel. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Click the notification, click that little bell icon to be notified anytime that I put up a new video. Stay tuned for much more watch reviews, smart home reviews, and remember, find me on Instagram as well. It really makes a big difference when you guys can post your shots on my Facebook page, your wrist shots, of course. Definitely find me on Twitter. I'm on all those, so man, just become part of the wrist shot action. And if you have any requests, by all means, I'm always down to do a request. So guys, thanks again for watching. Have a great day.